Hey there, everybody. Nolan Walker here. Feeling a little nostalgic. Thought I'd tell y'all a few stories about myself. If you got questions, feel free to ask them. Nolan Walker, uh, entrepreneur, longtime business guy. If you got questions, I'm happy to answer things. And I thought I'd tell you a couple of stories about myself too today. I'm the owner currently of HVAC Webmasters, Plumbing Webmasters, Roofing Webmasters, and Data Pins or Data Pins, DATAPINS. But I thought I'd tell you some stories about myself while we're here. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them as we go forward. But, a lot of entrepreneurs, in my opinion, and it's just the truth of it. A lot of entrepreneurs had a rough go of it. So if somebody had started a small business, a lot of our clients too, a lot of contractors, and I started out mowing lawns and stuff. But I had, when I was younger, when I was 21, I worked with a family business, and that didn't go well. And so I was ousted from the family business, and I was in a really ratty little duplex. And I was literally having to store my lawnmower and my blower and weed eater and tools inside this little duplex. And I had actually bought this duplex, and this makes it sound like it's longer ago than it was, but I think it was about 1994. I was pretty young, 21. I'd bought this duplex on what was a bad part of town back then for like $12,000. And I tell part of this story because most people start somewhere when they start a business. And I wanted you to know kind of where I started. And back then, I didn't know much about marketing, much about business at roughly 21 years old. It was rough. We didn't know much. So I was literally mowing lawns and in this duplex. And I remember, I'll tell my horse and buggy hitch story, but we had mice, and I did. But I was mowing lawns from this place, and there was a concrete block outside, and we removed it. My brother and I did. This was a 100-year-old duplex or home that had been made into a duplex, and we took this thing to the city dump and dumped it off. And I was in there by myself at this point. My brother had moved out, and a lady knocked on the door, a real rich lady, by the way. And this was basically a slum area. And she said, "Hey, where's the horse and buggy hitch?" And I said, "What?" And I remember at the time removing it. It's like, this is some really nice concrete on this on this thing, but we didn't know what it was. I didn't know what a horse and buggy hitch was, but evidently it was one of the last ones in Fort Worth, Texas. Only a few of them exist in yards around town, and this house was kind of close to downtown, so I had a horse and buggy hitch. The little ring was gone. They had a little ring where you put tie the horse up to, and that was gone. I remember it being chipped at the top where it used to be. But this lady from the historical society, I mean, she kind of came unglued because we had removed it, and it was at the city dump. There's no getting it back. But I started in that place, or that was one of my stories anyway. And I was mowing lawns, painting curb numbers, and on my own. And if you're out there, I tell you part of this because if you're out there and you're experiencing, everybody has a hard time eventually. Most people want to start a business have had a hard time, right? I started there on my own, lawnmower, blower, weed eater. And I was in Fort Worth, Texas, by the way. In case you don't know, the first cold snap that hits, and most of us live in a place where it gets cold, the grass quits growing. So it was horrifying when the grass quit growing. And I would have to live off that money. You don't really make much money bagging leaves during the wintertime. So it was scary. To this day, I get a little uncomfortable when it cold snaps because the grass quits growing. Right now, it's so hot outside, like maybe the grass quits growing, but that's when you really have your income stop. But that's where I started my journey, entrepreneurial stuff. I had done stuff before then. When I was a kid, I remember as little as 14 or 15 range, maybe I was 14, I made root clippings. We had a greenhouse. So I was raised, I always say, on the right side of the tracks, but then things got rough at some point, and I worked for myself largely because of that, because I didn't have a lot of options. But I had sold these root clippings and hanging baskets, and then I later pushed a lawnmower. Um, I had later pushed a lawnmower, you know, and anyway, it was that's how we got started pushing lawnmower, mowing lawns again as I got older, and then yeah, and just stair stepping up to better lifestyle, to more business experience, to learning as I went, really beginning to focus and enjoy um, marketing, by the way. But I'm telling you, I started and I had everything from mice eating my shoes, soles of my shoes, catching mice in a little bad duplex that I lived in, to painting curves, mowing lawns, and then just stair stepping pieces at a time. So I'm 51 now. I didn't forget any of these experiences that I had. If you have questions, ask them. I'm just giving a little history on me because I think at 51, people get preconceived notions. I don't feel like I look like a contractor, but I started in a flooring store family. I mowed lawns. I owned an auto repair shop at one time. I owned a home security company. And early on, when I was really young, I mean, it was touch and go, mow a lawn, pay the rent, live in a bad place. I wasn't a bad guy, but I had some hard times. So if you got any questions, feel free to ask them. I'm Nolen Walker, currently own multiple businesses. Um, Yeah, I currently own multiple businesses like HVAC webmasters, plumbing webmasters, roofing webmasters, and data pens map ranking app. But yeah, it wasn't always this way. I feel like I live a pretty good life right now and still have multiple businesses, have a lot of experience, ton of experience. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'm committed to going on and doing some lives for Nolen Walker and synergizing my other brands. And if you got questions for me while I'm doing this, I'd be so happy to answer any of these questions, guys. If you got questions, feel free to ask them. Feel free to ask those questions. Just type them in and I'll tell you what I can. Help you with marketing, help you with expenses, structuring, other business questions. But yeah, at that house too that I was in, I bought that for $12,000, gave it back to the owner, had mice eating my mowing shoes. And ended up catching like dozens of mice in there. And it was a horrible spot. I ended up just moving into an apartment once I made some money. And then, like I said, little bit of work here, a little bit of work there is how I got to where I am now. And it literally was just perseverance and learning, failure, success, few successes. You've heard this before, but business entrepreneurial stuff is literally one failure to the next, and fail, 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 win. You'll fail a bunch of times, and every once in a while you have a win. And when you have those wins, you try to keep that business going at all costs, pretty much. Work that business at that point. But it's worth it. It's hard sometimes, and I thought I'd tell a little bit of a few stories that I've had. But yeah, it wasn't always perfect by any means, and I think it's helpful if you have a little adversity sometimes. So always try to appreciate where you are at the time. Any questions for me? Happy to answer questions, guys. Help a lot of people now: plumbers, roofers, HVAC, webmasters, data pens. And I'm happy to do that stuff too. We work with a lot of people, and one of the reasons I tell a story about having rough start, a rougher start, but happy for what I've had otherwise, is that I think most people and most my clients have had a rough start a little bit. I think most entrepreneurs. So if you have any questions on anything, I feel like I've done a lot and have had a lot of experiences. I'd be happy to help you with anything from what you should do with your marketing, expenses, business structure. I mean, any of that kind of stuff. If you have a question, We've taken a lot of contractors from just one truck to many trucks on the road and increased their business by millions, helping them get found on Google, on Bing, on ChatGPT or AI search now, all of that kind of stuff. So really been through helping people now after years of doing my own businesses, by the way, my own contracting businesses, then eventually selling those and helping other people. So if you got questions, feel free to ask questions and I'll be happy to go over any of it. Like I said, a lot of business knowledge and a lot around the world of marketing and a lot of contractors, work with a lot of contractors. And anything with social media too, I'll be happy to answer questions about that. We do a lot of paid ads on Google management, organic optimization, map rankings, organic keyword rankings, reputation reviews, all that kind of stuff too. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions if anybody has any. Let me go check over here. All right, guys. Let's see. Anybody have any questions for me? I'm up here at the office in Fort Worth, Texas. I love Fort Worth, by the way. Born here, tried to get away multiple times. It's hard to beat it. I've moved a few times and I'm always back in Fort Worth. And I'm kind of here to stay at this point. I think it's a great metroplex, a lot of good people, a lot of opportunity, good business, good people, good barbecue. Anybody have any questions for me? I'm going to see if, so I tell you, if you want to know some other stuff, let's give you some business knowledge. How about just life knowledge if you don't have a business right now? Start out with your daily affirmation. I've said this before. Write something positive. I am this, I am that, I have this, I have that. Health, relationships, material stuff, money, and repeat that. Get a narrative in your head, visualize the house you're in. Sit down and try to visualize every piece of that house, walking in the front yard, sipping coffee in the morning by the pool of your home, the home you don't have yet. Experience that. Walk around the house and visualize the way it looks, the land that it's on, the view that you have. This will help you get started and help you manifest some of the stuff you want. So if you don't have a business yet, you're like, I don't even know what I want to do, Nolen. Start here. Start with the life that you want. Visualize it, experience emotion, joy around it, and think about it every day. Wake up thinking about it and visualize it. If it keeps you awake at night, you might not do it at the end of the night right before you go off to bed, but you could if it doesn't keep you awake. I would try that, and that'll help get you started. Once you have that positive thing, you may not even know how you're going to make money to get to it, but your brain will come up with ways to get you to it once you believe in it and have it. So I would work on that as well. So a positive daily affirmation, you wrote it down. It's different than goals. It's who you are. I am this. So you don't want to just write down possessions, money, goals. You want to write down like who you are, and then you want to visualize that on the daily with emotion if possible. That will get you started, even if you don't have any business plan right now. I would do this no matter what. Like even if you're not going to go into business for yourself, I would do this. This is very important. So that manifestation, one person that talks about that, a lot of people talk about manifesting their reality. I think Jim Carrey is one of the best ones at this. He's fabulous at it. He did a commencement speech at, I think, Maharishi University. You can find it on, he did like their graduating class speech, and it was fabulous. I think it was Maharishi University as a college out of Iowa, if I had to remember. Jim Carrey did a commencement speech that was fabulous. And he's really good at talking about manifestation and stuff. I think he was the one, if you remember the old story about him, that wrote himself a check for $10 million that was just a symbol it was on his own check, and he wrote it and signed it and put it in his wallet, and he would look at it every day. I think he was homeless in his car, and he actually, it actually came true. I think when he filmed The Mask. So I could be, like I said, I'm 51. So if y'all don't know who Jim Carrey is, Ace Ventura, The Mask, Liar, Liar, great movies, fabulous, but he doesn't do a lot anymore. Guys, if you have questions for me, business, life, entrepreneurial stuff, I would be happy to answer them. I'm up here to help out. I'd like to see entrepreneurs do well, people do well in life. If you have questions about stuff, I'm so happy to answer them. Nolen Walker here, been in business a long time, just coming on doing my own personal branded stuff. I'm a kind of an OG entrepreneur, and I think I'm a unique individual to be on here. So if you got questions, ask. I'm in here in my office. We have multiple businesses. I definitely answer business questions, but I'll answer life questions, questions that help you live the best life, entrepreneurial questions. I've kind of done a lot of stuff, and so we're doing a lot of advancement in the company here right now. I've had digital marketing agencies for, I don't know, 15 years. HVAC webmasters, plumbing webmasters, and roofing webmasters, and then Data Pins Map ranking app. We developed it. It's a little software company, about 5 or 6 years. A little bit of real estate. I like working, providing for my wife and children. I enjoy it, and I like owning my own business. And I'll probably work until the day I die in some capacity. Work in the business. I'll work on the business. I work with my clients. I love working with people, and the older I get, I want to, I'd like to, help and share a little bit. Part of this too is working on my own brand. I think there's a synergy right now going on. You all know you should be working on your own brand, and I could no longer ignore it. So I don't care. I will work this until it gets going. I'm very tenacious. I don't expect to be the same as my daughter, who's got millions per short. 17 years old. She's doing fabulous, but I'll bring in my own age, get in where I fit in, and it will work to synergize my brand. So a guy that gets on this 50 is a different crowd than a 17-year-old, but I will work this until it's successful. Part of being in business, by the way, you don't give up. I don't give up. I will not give up. So this brand will, you guys follow me now. Mark my words, my brands will coalesce together, bring in 250,000 subs. It will synergize the rest of the stuff, and the personal brand will continue. It is just part of it for me, part of the ride. And as things change, you need to embrace them. And when you know and you feel this and you're watching this and you're wanting to get a business going, or you're even a community for yourself, your profession, you should be participating. So you should be doing some social media lives, even if you don't have anything to sell right now. Even if you don't, guys, even if you don't. Any questions at all? I'm happy to answer stuff. Any questions? Questions for me? Feel free to ask questions about entrepreneurialism, marketing, business, best life. Those are probably my biohacking. Anybody want to hear about biohacking? You turn 50, you're going to be working, you're going to biohack. Means I'm doing some pretty creative, cool stuff to stay healthy, to be youthful, to have energy to come on and do stuff like this. Anybody in their 30s, 40s, 50s, I will tell you that I can help you in business, and you'd better be doing this stuff. You do not want to limp out to pasture early. You want to be participating in everything going on. Any questions, guys, for me? I will stay on for a little bit longer if anybody has anything. My phone has blown up. I have multiple businesses. Again, Nolen Walker. If you got questions, type them in. I own HVAC webmasters, plumbing webmasters, roofing webmasters, and Data Pins. And my phone has rang a lot since I've been sitting here. So I'm going to grab a few of those. If anybody has any questions, I will answer them. Any questions for me? I'll wait a few more seconds here. Any questions? I'll be happy to answer any before I go return some phone calls. I think I've had 5 phone calls since I've started this. Anybody ask me questions? All right, guys. Any advice for a young person? Yeah, I do. I'll be happy to give some advice. I like talking to young people because yeah, I'm older now. I just feel like it's part of the life cycle here. Um, be careful. I will tell you, there's so many positive things, so much stuff. If you follow a lot of stuff and you feel bad after you're on social media, unfollow people. And when you get done with your social media, make sure you have that you feel positive, or just stay off a little bit. But curate an experience if you are going to be on, to where you feel good when you're done looking, so that the algorithm's bringing you some positivity. If you follow too much stuff that's on this side or that side, or gets you riled up or feeling bad. So be careful and protect your brain. Do the daily affirmation for yourself. Do an affirmation to where you start to paint the picture. So let's say that you don't know what you want to be yet or do. Say, I think I'd like to start a business. I might like to work for myself to have more freedom, but I don't know what I want to do yet. I'm going to make it easy on you. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to write a daily affirmation. Just Google it or TikTok it, look, view it. Just daily affirmation says, I am at the top. I am this. I am that. I am healthy. These relationships, these friends, this house, this much money. And you write up basically a picture of what your life looks like. You may not have that today, but it's what you want. You visualize it as though it is real every day and read it. And your brain will come up with stuff. I'm telling you, your brain will come up with a way to achieve that. And the better you get it in your head. So, positive narratives, positive thought about yourself, of what your life's going to be like, experience as though it already happened, and get rid of the negative narratives out of the head, the other stuff. Can't do this, can't do that, or negative narratives of things that hadn't even happened yet. So positive narratives of things that will happen. That's the difference. The I am, and you don't just read it, by the way. It's nice to write it down. You should, and print it out, old school style, on a piece of paper, and have it, something tactile. You read it daily. But I also want you to think about it and visualize it and experience yourself living that life as though it already happened. Do this like 5-10 minutes a day. That's it. And you don't have to worry about what you're going to be. You don't have to worry about how you're going to get there. But this part of it is paramount and fundamental. I'll give you some other stuff that people tell you. Maybe learn some sales skills and marketing skills. So, but if you're not to that point yet, just what I just said is enough. I'm telling you, it's enough. And it will get you there. If you need sales and marketing, your brain will help you with it. Opportunity will find you once you're clear headed with a positive narrative of something that you know you're living already. Opportunity will find you. So do this. And then on top of that, stay around positive people. And if your experience on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube is poor and you feel bad when you're done with it, limit time and unfollow things that are making you feel weird, or if the algorithm's putting stuff in front of you, there's like, hey, that's not quite what I want to see. So narrate that message, but also your own personal one that's very specific with your daily affirmation. I'm talking one sheet. And then in your head, I want you to be as detail oriented as possible. Visualize that house, what the kitchen looks like, sipping some tea on the back porch as the sun goes down next to the pool, birds chirping, experience it. And then how to get there, don't worry about that yet. If you're a young person, don't worry about that yet. Enjoy being young. I'm telling you, your brain's a powerful thing, and you'll figure out how to get there. I appreciate that question, guys, but my phone seriously just rang like 8 times, and I'm going to go get that. If you have questions, like and subscribe. I love questions like that. I hope you live the best life there, by the way. I do. And I want you to, leave you with one thing. There's guys out here like me that we care about you. I want you to do well. I want you to live the best life. Not everybody out there is bad. I'm rooting for you. I'm personally rooting for you, and I want you to do well. And there's a lot of guys like me out here. Yeah, you're very welcome, and keep working on it.